What's up, mga boards? I know I've been a bit inactive lately. Real-life responsibilities have been keeping me busy, but I've still been sneaking in some playtime on Pixels, leveling up and using my energy as much as possible. It's tough to stay on top of those daily tasks with a packed schedule, though. I'd love to see an energy overflow system in Pixels, so we don't lose progress on the busy days. Today, we're diving into some updates from the recent AMA with Luke and Heidi. But before we get to that, I'm excited to announce part 2 of our whitelist giveaway for Lumaterra. For those new here, Lumaterra is a multiplayer, open-world survival crafting game where you can battle, farm with friends, and discover mysterious creatures across a massive world. I was lucky to be part of the last closed beta and even put together some tutorial videos which you can check out on my channel. Lumaterra's closed beta part 2 launches this Monday, November 11th, and access is whitelist only. Thanks to our partnership with the Lumaterra team, we have some exclusive whitelist spots to give away to our viewers. This is a fantastic opportunity to get in on what's shaping up to be a huge milestone for Lumaterra. In my next video, I'll cover all the giveaway details, so stay tuned. Once again, this is Artdiced from BCH Guild, and welcome back to my channel.
I'm going to demonstrate how to withdraw your partner. Now, some of you are skeptics from BCH. Up again on the boards. Artdiced is back. You thought that my calculations are wrong. Medyo mataas BCH number 1.
Hola mis amigos, estoy en España, entonces ahora hablo en español. No, I'm totally kidding. Pero un día hablo en español en un AMA. Pero ahora mi español no es muy bueno. One day we will do one in Spanish. I know we have so many listeners in Spanish that don't necessarily speak English either. So one day, give me a few years, okay? We're practicing.
You need to practice Tagalog too. Haiti, come on. Your viewers are mostly from the Philippines, and we are dying to hear you speak Tagalog or Bisaya.
Anyways, hello from Spain. I am not with Luke at the moment. He is still in Dubai, but we are vibing. So
Just to save some time, we're going to skip some of the less important stuff, just so we can get to the point of this AMA, if you guys don't mind.
we are going to talk.
It was awesome because we had a lot of people from the Philippines join the AMAs, and they don't normally get to watch it live or the crazy.
I was able to watch this AMA because the time was much better than before. It was live at 12 a.m., was a bit sleepy, but we pushed through.
Ones do. You people that stay up to your 3 or 4 in the morning and watch the AMAs, I don't get it, but I appreciate it so much.
We don't normally sleep on that time, Luke, and that's really not healthy for the body. As I've said before to all my kababayans out there who still watch the AMA at 3 a.m., it's not worth it. Take care of your body.
But yeah, here for this AMA, we want you guys to focus on the important stuff in this AMA. We always kind of view Pixels as like a way that you can get out of the rest of the world for a couple hours, right? So we have a lot of things we're going to be talking about today. We'll answer some questions too, because I know that you guys have some. We'll have some stuff that we'll address today also. And we'll kind of give you an overview of what the rest of Chapter 2.5 looks like, the things that we're going to be working on, when we think Chapter 2.5 will be kind of done, and we can start working on Chapter 3. And we'll get into some of the cool stuff that we released too. So I think to kick it off, the thing that I'm most excited about that we just released is this new feature called Login with Pixels. I just posted about it on my Twitter. So maybe I can bring up that tweet really quickly to show you guys. Because it's a really cool feature. And I'm not sure everybody that is reading that tweet fully gets it. What I'll say is this feature isn't so much for Pixels players, but it will be for Pixels players, if that makes sense. So what we basically have done is we have this reputation system and a bunch of other really cool stuff in the game, right? And now what we're doing is we're actually going to be making it so that other games can use Login with Pixels if they want. And this is really cool because what this means now is you're logging with Pixels. Basically, your reputation or your account in Pixels might show up inside of other Web3 games. So the reputation you've been earning inside of Pixels is actually going to be really useful outside of Pixels too. We know that other people want this because I've been talking to a ton of other Web3 gaming founders lately, and they're just starting to get games out, or they're just starting to get into some of the meat of what it actually means to build a Web3 game. And I'm hearing some things very casually from them every now and then where it's like, okay, I think we might have some bots in our game, or, oh, I don't know how to airdrop to the right people,
This is a great feature for other Web3 games who wants to work together with Pixels. It's a win-win advantage, and this could really help them onboard new players, real players, and not bots. They can also create new ways to distribute rewards.
Awesome is we've already done the hard work of all of this with our reputation system. And now, if you're a Pixels player and you've been playing the game for a long time, you're actually probably somebody that they want to be airdropping to. You're probably somebody that they want to be giving incentives to. And now other people, like other games, will actually be able to read your reputation score. It's a really cool feature. We expect other people in our ecosystem to join and use this as well too. So we have like a couple of things we want to announce soon, but we can't yet. It's so close to getting out. But we've kind of been talking about it in general, right? There's going to be more games coming into Pixels soon. We're building out an ecosystem here, right? So what we're thinking about with future games inside of Pixels is they're basically going to be like overlapping slightly with the core loop of Pixels. So like for example, if you earn in Pixels, you might be able to spend like some of the pixel you earn in another game that we release. You might even have like a couple of assets move back and forth between the two games. Like for example, something that you mine might work in another game that we release, or pets is a really good example too. Like we want to do something with pets where your pets will work in both games, and you might be able to level up a pet in another app, right? So all the games that we release in our ecosystem will also use login with Pixels, so you don't need a bunch of different accounts, and all these things like reputation, your in-game levels follow you all around too. So I'm excited to see what this does for the developer ecosystem around Pixels too, because some of you have been kind of figuring out this stuff unofficially. Now it's a much better system because it's official, it's supported, and we can allow other devs to go out and use this too. It's a cool feature.
It would be cool if Lumitera can get in on this. This is a nice feature to have and will be a great collaboration for the two games. Shout out to Lumitera team. Let's go.
And yeah, it'll make it way, way easier for people to basically be giving you some stuff if you are in the Pixels ecosystem. I've been thinking for a long time. I'm surprised that more people haven't, because inside of Pixels, you guys are the most dedicated player base inside of Web3 gaming, right? More people should take advantage of that. And we're going to make it easy for all of you guys, right? So beyond that, what are some other things that we're working on, right? So we have chapter 2.5. We started releasing some more major updates, right? The last major update with chapter 2.5 came out 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it's only been 2 weeks. I feel like I've aged significantly in the last 2 weeks since that's come out. But overall, it seems like things are moving and they're feeling all right, right? There's still some things that we need to change and tweak, and there's some task board things that you guys don't like. But we just pushed out another update yesterday around wine. And we're hearing some feedback around the wine stuff. We're kind of going to explain to you guys what we're thinking about wine, and how it actually links in with the other stuff that we're working on. So I think the easiest thing to do that is to kind of also show you guys what else is going to be coming in chapter 2.5, because I think it'll make more sense to all of you. So I'm going to share.
If you haven't checked out the new recipes yet, now's the perfect time. You can craft glass bottles using 3 pieces of glass in the stone shaping industry. In the cooking industry, we now have potberry mash, clover mash, and apricot mash, all essential ingredients for winemaking. Make sure to add these to your crafting list.
The sprint dashboard that we used to share, if you guys remember that. So here are the different features that are getting worked on in chapter 2.5. And I'll kind of explain to you guys what we're thinking here. So we're working on more gacha mechanics. That's a big one, actually. And we'll kind of touch on some of the stuff about the Halloween event today, too, because I think it's important to address what went on with that and some of the stuff that we're thinking there. We have a new feature, merchant ships, which is coming, and that's going to be the big one. So chapter 2.5, the goal here is it's going to be mostly like all these balance updates that we've been talking about for a long time that will make the game feel better, play better, make more sense, and the progression just makes more sense too. We did the first major update with the task board, and that affected a lot of how you guys play the game. Overall reception's been generally positive, but there's more stuff like that that we still need to do. So with that is things like industry limits. It's going to be changing like some of the XP curves and how much XP you get per item. We're working on item durability and industry durability. And yeah, we're gonna be changing like a lot of stuff around the core gameplay too. So there's a few parts of the game that we know that don't feel quite right still, but basically we're going to be addressing this. Part of it is things like tier 3 and tier 4 resources. don't feel like they're super necessary right now, right? So we might have to go and do some things like add these industry limits. Not like we might go and do these things. We're going to do these things. We're going to introduce industry limits to kind of make it so that tier 3 and tier 4 become a little bit more scarce. We're also probably going to mess around with some of the cooldown timers and things like crops and all of this too. It's going to change the game meta a lot. But basically all of this is in progress, and we're thinking basically the rest of chapter 2.5, the goal for us is like get development done by end of this month, and wrap up chapter 2.5 like, end of this month, early December, basically. So
There are so many changes happening right now, and I wish we could cover them all. Personally, I have no complaints so far, as we're still figuring out the new metas around these updates. Let's dive into the grind and enjoy exploring the new mechanics, especially with the freshly added energy wine recipes.
Balance changes, all the chapter 2.5 tweaks that we've been talking about, they're basically coming to an end, and then we can start working on chapter 3, which is awesome. So in chapter 2.5, we're also going to be releasing a new feature called merchant ships, which we just teased yesterday for the first time. And merchant ships is going to be a really cool new feature. How it's going to work is it's going to be more oriented towards late game or end game content. It's not super like the task board, but it's a similar style mechanic, except you're going to be able to earn a lot more different types of content in the merchant ships feature besides just pixel. That'll be the cool thing about it. And wine is going to play a big part in the merchant ship feature. So if you notice the wine changes, we added more recipes for the wines right now, right? We introduced a tier 1 winery. Then there's also still the remaining tier 4 wineries, right? The tier 4 wineries have access to new recipes from tier 1 all the way up to tier 4. The tier 2 to tier 4 recipes will primarily be used in this merchant ships feature when we have it out. So, they're in the game now. They do give you some energy, but they're going to be a lot more useful, all those recipes there, when this merchant ships feature is out. That's kind of the alpha, basically. So go ahead and make them if you really want. But they're going to be more and more useful in like the end of chapter 2.5 when we have that out, right?
There's a hint for you right there. If you head south of Terravilla by the docks, you'll find an NPC named Marina. Talk to him, and he'll say, "Stock up your reserves. From silk slug slime to encumber wine, the merchant fleet especially likes the wines. So, what are you waiting for? Start stocking up on those wines, Maga boards."
So in the meantime, too, we're hearing a little bit of feedback that, there's not many tier 4 wineries. There's like a ton of scarcity there, right? We kind of like there being some scarcity in the tier 4 wineries is what we'll say. Scarcity was a really big part of chapter 1 mechanics that I think went really well, right? If you guys remember the apiary meta and the winery meta back then too, you had to really figure out who had access to the apiaries. Like people were looking up like all this crazy external stuff. We thought that was a really fun game loop. And that's kind of going to be the meta that we want to move towards for like the rest of chapter 2. And as we move into chapter 3 also, like we want to make it so there are like end game rare industries. So what's cool is these industries, these wineries specifically are tiered, right? So there's no tier 2 or tier 3 into the game yet. We'll start to introduce tier 2 and tier 3 through different mechanisms, right? So we have a bunch of different ways that we can start to introduce content now. We could do it through, we could do it through gachas. We could do it through in-game quests. We could do it through like a bunch of other events. And essentially we're going to be, like dripping out tier 2 and tier 3 through like some different experiments basically. But when we talk about like chase content, like that's a really good example of chase content that we've been talking about. So if you don't know what chase content is, because it's kind of like a technical game design term, we talk about it a lot, but basically it's anything inside of the game that people actually want to earn besides the pixel token, right? That's a really important thing to have inside of the game because one, it makes it so that we actually have more syncs for the pixel token. And two, it means that we have a better game because if basically we didn't have anything that people wanted in the game besides pixel, that probably means the game on its own isn't fun enough. So it means we're making good progress towards that. And when we think about chase content, there are things like this that we can start to introduce, right? But chapter 3 is also largely going to be focused on adding new fun gameplay elements that are like kind of centered around chase content too. Basically other things in the game that you guys might want besides just Pixel, that you might even be willing to use Pixel to try to get, right? I think the Halloween costumes are a pretty good example of that kind of chase content. And that's also a lot of what we've been thinking about lately too. So there's a couple of other things that we'll be working on as we start to prep chapter 3 and other things like that that will be going out. One of the big features that I really want to start to push is I want to get more of the like chase content that we have in game on chain. One of the best examples of chase content that should have been on chain is the costumes for Halloween. We saw how much you guys liked those. That was awesome. And that stuff belongs on chain so you can trade it, right? So the team is going to start to...
I didn't get too involved in the Halloween event, though I did complete the Bat quest and snagged a few costumes. Other than that, I wasn't too invested. I did see some people going all in on the gacha rolls. Spent a lot, but ended up with nothing but junk. Yep, that's the gacha life for you.
Move more of this on chain, and that also might unlock some other really cool advantages for us as well. Like for example, we are probably going to redo how we do gachas. The gacha that we did for Halloween was actually like objectively successful when it comes to pixel burn, but something about it didn't feel quite right to the team. And it's a big improvement over the Barney's Bazaar event, but the team needs to get a lot better at making sure the gachas are very transparent and all of that too. And the best way to do that actually is moving some of the gacha mechanics on chain, right? That way there's on-chain odds, you actually get to completely see what there is. So yeah, you're going to see like some infrastructure here at Pixels getting built around this kind of stuff too. So
I love that idea. It would be great to see who won what, and hopefully they'll consider adding a pity system as well.
So yeah, these are the things that are kind of going to wrap up what we consider chapter 2.5. And then, yeah, chapter 3 is probably going to get starting. We're probably going to start development on chapter 3 in December, which is awesome. So what that means is like a realistic release date around chapter 3 is probably like Q1, maybe like beginning of Q2. We're going to try to get it out as quick as possible. We've also learned from our mistakes, and we want to make sure that when we have chapter 3 out, it feels good, it plays well. But we can also piece it out how we want to as well too. So I think that's kind of the gist of everything that we're working on. I wanted to go over like some of the metrics too. I shared them in a tweet a couple of days ago as well. But I think it's important to kind of show you guys the progress that we've been making with some of the like burn sides of Pixels too. So over the last 30 days, we've seen revenue in-game increase. 9.24 million pixel were burned over the last 30 days. And that's, I think, like a 15 to 20% month-on-month improvement from the previous 30 days, which is awesome. You might see that our daily active addresses have gone down, but spend is increased. And
if you think this burn is because of the gacha system, let me know in the comments. This is probably due to the people who spent their pixels in the Halloween event gacha, and of course to those who are minting UGC in-game.
That actually is like a really good signal of some of the fundamentals of Pixels. We're getting better at figuring out how to destroy bot incentives. So the anti-bot stuff, it's like pretty complex. There's a few things that we think about. We talk about this all the time because it's the core problem of Web3 gaming. You cannot build a play-to-earn game without thinking about the stuff very deeply and designing for it, building out data science around it, like all of this kind of stuff. And like a lot of the initial chapter 2.5 changes were basically attacking some of the bot incentives. So we've seen bot count go down significantly. Most of our real player base has stayed. And because of that, average pixels spent per user has also increased. So we've seen some good positive stuff there. Another really interesting thing that I want to share is this is a graph of the revenue inside of Pixels over the last 3 months. And maybe it's even better to show the last 30 days to show you guys what's going on here. But basically, Pixels has also been starting to build out more diversified revenue streams. This is a chart showing the different things that people are spending Pixel on in-game. The purple is VIP, and this orange is coins. And you're actually starting to see that a lot of coins are starting to take over the majority of spend inside of Pixels, which is actually much more sustainable than VIP. We love VIP. VIP is great. But also VIP probably wasn't the most sustainable revenue source. This is a much better one that's going to build a better foundation of what we're doing here at Pixels. And all this stuff is important, right? I know you guys love Pixels, and we talk about some of this stuff sometimes because we want to show you guys that we're making progress towards actually building out sustainable play to earn. Because if you love Pixels, play to earn has to become sustainable, right? If we pull off everything that we're trying to pull off at Pixels, we think that play to earn gaming can be normal gaming in like 2 to 5 years. Who knows how long it's going to take for the rest of the space. But we actually do think that every game that you play, like if you're used to playing free to play or mobile games, will eventually become play to earn. And you're kind of here with us on this journey to figure out how to make it work in the early stages. So this kind of stuff is important. This is why we like show you guys this stuff, because if you like Pixels and you want to see it last for a long time, we have to figure this out. But there's been some awesome progress here is what we'll say. So yeah, I think that's most of the stuff I want to kind of show you guys today. And I know that we're going to have, a lot more questions. So we'll kind of go through a lot of that stuff.
I really think Pixels is moving in the right direction. I can feel the positive changes in game, even though I haven't been playing heavily. Take a look at my PGA earnings chart. I didn't grind the task board for the past 7 days, just checked daily, and if there were no Pixels tasks, I moved on. Yet I still earned 21 Pixels, which is roughly $3. Next week, I'm planning to go all in on the task board grind, so I'll post an update for you guys. I've saved up about 10 million coins for this, thanks to selling some of my UGC. If anyone's interested in buying, just DM me on X.
Yeah, I think that is probably good to go over.
We covered a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we covered a lot of it, but basically, like I made a long thread about like some of the progress that we're making towards the fundamentals of Pixels. I did touch on the data science side too. Wait, do you want to show that one picture of like that weird web thing? Yeah, I'm not sure like the resolution there, but this is cool. So basically at Pixels, we've been working on 2 things. It's like, we need to improve the game. We need to make the game better and better and more fun. We had to go through all these economy fixes first. Now we can start to move on to fun features and also some of the stuff around data science, which I geek out on this so much, but this is actually probably the biggest technical moat that we're building here at Pixels. This is a cool graph. Like this is some of the stuff that we're doing. This is basically a graph of all the trades happening in Pixels and like how like coins and other resources move around. So we can basically, I think you might have seen some of these before with like Cybele farmers. Like Layer Zero had graphs like this when they were doing their like Cybele cleaning. What we're doing at Pixels is we're kind of developing all of this tech in real time, right? So the difference between us and like a Layer Zero, if you remember when Layer Zero did their airdrop, they basically spent like a month cleaning through bots, going through stuff like this. That's great that they did that, right? But that actually doesn't work in consumer applications, because in consumer applications, if you want to make play to earn work, you have to do this in real time. Like you have to make sure that you have this like Cybele cleaning happen every single day, right? And that's some of the cool stuff that we're working on right now. So yeah, we're getting a lot smarter on the bot prevention detection side. We have like a whole data science team now, which is awesome. I love them. And we're getting more and more insights there. So you're going to start to see some more tangible stuff happen too. Like the reason why we're doing all of this is basically we have a couple goals. We want to increase earnings per real user because it makes no sense to give out earnings to bots, right? That hurts everybody when we give out earnings to bots. It's like really inefficient for us. If we give out an earning to a bot, it's guaranteed that they dump it too. That's why they're botting the game. And what we can start to do is we can actually do a couple things, right? Like we can identify bots, and we can also start to shift how we give out rewards to players who are more likely to use the tokens in our game, right? So what's cool is when you start to participate in all the stuff going on in Pixels, like if you participate in events, if you buy coins, we track that, we know what you're doing, and it actually is like a much better signal that you're a real user. It's kind of crazy, right? Like sometimes with the bots, what you have to think about is like what is the bot's goal, right? Like the bots are pure extractors in like a way crazier way than even just like a earn motivated player, right? Now, what I'm not saying here is like if you're an earn motivated player, like if you're coming into the game with like that earn mindset, you're not our enemy. Our enemies are the people that make thousands of accounts, right? Like those are the really big issue. If you're an earn motivated player, but you're still playing the game, you're a wholesome player, you're chatting, you're like a part of the community, you're a good player and we still want you in the game, right? And there's other things that we can do with this data science to kind of figure that out, right? So the bots play in like a very specific way. We had better tells on how to do that. And that's actually part of like some of the reputation stuff that we've been doing too. So the login with pixels is a really big thing because we've already released some of this data science tech into our reputation score. Your reputation score, if you noticed, it's kind of hard to reverse engineer now. You actually probably can't because there's a lot of stuff that happens on the back end. What we do is we give you some scores based on quests and in-game actions, all of that too. We also do some stuff called segmentation. Basically, we look at how you've played the game and we give you more or less points depending on how you played the game and what you've done inside of the game as well too. And that's the stuff that we just opened up with Pixels login too. So now other games can actually get some of that data science that we had. And the goal is, if other games start to come into the ecosystem too, we have even more games to start to build that reputation system on. Like we do have another game that'll be coming into the ecosystem pretty soon. I'm excited to announce it when we can. It's like getting wrapped up, all that stuff now. But they'll integrate Pixels login, and you'll also get reputation and other things like that if you participate in that game. It's going to be awesome, really cool. And basically it kind of builds out that network effect of, if you've been a Pixels player, you're going to start to get more benefits from having played Pixels in the rest of Web3. And it's largely driven because of this data science. So that's awesome stuff. So yeah,
as I mentioned before, this is shaping up to be an incredible feature for Pixels. And I honestly haven't seen any other Web3 games implementing something quite like this. Imagine a Web3 game ecosystem where systems and mechanics are interconnected across different games and platforms, creating a truly immersive and unified experience. With this kind of feature, Pixels is not only setting itself apart, but also paving the way for how Web3 games could evolve in the future. This level of interoperability would allow players to carry progress, assets, or even in-game currencies between games, making each gaming experience richer and more meaningful. It's an exciting direction, and if Pixels continues on this path, it could really set a new standard for Web3 gaming as a whole.
I think we already addressed this, but I think it's a good point. The problem with merchant ships is that there aren't enough wineries. So I know Luke already talked about the different ways on like how we're going to kind of open up this economy. But is there anything else you wanted to add or rewind?
Yeah, so again, like we're going to focus on tier 2 and tier 3 first because those don't exist in the game at all right now, right? So we'll probably have some mechanic where you can start to earn these wineries in game. I will say the merchant ship feature, like part of what we're going to add to it is like earning some other stuff in the merchant ship feature. So that actually might be how we give them away at the beginning. But there might be some other ways that we do it too. There might be another gacha. There might be something like that. I want to like slow down the gacha a little bit until we like either make it way more transparent next time. Like there's a couple things we've been talking about there on how we can make it better.
I recommend checking out some of the top gacha games out there, like Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail. I've played each of these, and I can say that most of their gacha systems weren't all that great when they first launched. Early on, rewards were hit or miss, and many players felt frustrated with the lack of value. However, over time, they significantly improved these systems, adding better drop rates, pity counters, and guaranteed rewards that made spending feel more satisfying and worthwhile. Pixels could take a page out of these games' books and develop a gacha system that truly rewards players over time. Implementing features like a pity system, progressive rewards, or guaranteed high-value items after a certain number of pulls would go a long way in making players feel that their investment is valued.
We like the idea of gachas, but like I want to make it friendlier to people if we do it, right? Like I don't want people to feel like it's weird or misleading or anything like that. So we probably will like work with you guys to figure out what the best kind of gacha looks like, because there's a few different ways that we can implement it. And yeah, we'll talk about that basically.
A well-designed gacha could even become a core feature that players enjoy and look forward to, rather than something they approach with frustration or hesitation. Ultimately, a player-centered approach to gacha could elevate Pixels, setting it apart in the Web3 space by making it one of the first blockchain games to incorporate a truly rewarding and engaging gacha system. Here's hoping that Pixels will create a system that celebrates players' commitment and keeps them excited about every pull.
Oh yeah, I Yeah, I'm so excited to go to the Philippines, especially now that you guys like us again. It's going to be a lot more fun than if we went to the Philippines like 2 months ago, right?
Hey, we never hated you, Luke. Come on. I'm looking forward to seeing Luke eating balut, so please upload a video on X.
Yeah, I'll eat ballot. Or is it balut? I think it's balut. I'll eat more than one. That's the promise I'm making. I'm not just gonna eat one. That's kind of lame if I just eat one. I'll eat like 2 or 3.
I guess I'll film. Okay, I'm gonna address this because I address this all the time, and I think it's still taking quite a long time for some people to fully grasp. The new reputation system is not as straightforward as the previous one. It's not like do thing, get points. It's a smart system, and that means that it's looking at so many different aspects. So yeah, did you participate in this live ops event? Did you participate in this quest? How much did you participate in this quest? How much did you participate in this event? And then gameplay. How much are you farming? How much are you doing other industries? How often are you, I don't know, logging in? How often are you staying? There's so many different areas that it could be looking at. Do you have an integrated NFT? Do you own a land? Do you own a pet? Do you have a bunch? I don't know. Do you wear cool avatar things? There's like so many different things it's looking at. And then it kind of aggregates all of that towards a score. So it's not as straightforward as before, do thing, get points. So we can't tell you how many points you're going to be getting from this because it's not that simple.
Hey, hello, I have an idea. I want to increase the energy bar. If you put pixel for it, almost everybody will increase. Yeah, I don't hate that. I'll ask the team why we haven't done something like that. It is a good idea.
Absolutely. We've mentioned this so many times in past videos, and it's clear that an increase to the max energy cap, or even an energy overflow system, would be a game changer, especially for casual players. Imagine being able to store up extra energy for those days when you finally have time to play, without feeling like you're missing out when you can't log in daily. Having a system like this would give players so much more flexibility and would make the game more enjoyable for people with busy schedules. I'd even be willing to pay pixels or use in-game currency for this feature. It's that useful. I mean, take my pixels, Luke. Let's make this happen. Not only would this improve the gameplay experience for everyone, but it would also add value to the time and energy players invest, creating a more balanced and satisfying system overall. Here's hoping the dev team hears us on this one.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Like you temporarily can have like way more energy. That would be awesome. That would be really helpful for some of the bigger tasks.
That's a wrap for today's AMA recap, Munga Boards. I hope you're all getting a head start on grinding those Tier 2, 3, and 4 wines. We've still got plenty of time before the merchant ship arrives, so don't wait too long to stock up. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you won't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. This is Artdiced from BCH Guild, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'm going to demonstrate how to withdraw your partner. Now, some of you are skeptics from BCH. Up again with the boards. Artdiced is back. You thought that my calculations are wrong. Medyo mataas na. BCH #1.